Thank you, everyone. Uh, of, as a coordinator of the entire program, I would like at first express my gratitude to the University of Rotterdam for hosting us today, and namely to Walter de Witt, of course, and allow me to express gratitude also to Martin Schippers and to Federico Tarini. They worked hard for the whole organization of this, and believe me, it does not be easy to arrange everything. Uh, okay, having said that, um, I have always thought the role of the academia was to be open to society, and so I think today in this seminar, as well as in the previous seminar, this role is at highest level of relevance, because we discuss not just among the scholars and academics, but we are open. We discuss with institutions. We all today have prominent representatives from customs, from institutions, European institutions, and so it is very important. That is very important to be open, to discuss openly. In the end, we all are here to address some pro issues and to find the most suitable solutions. Perhaps perfect solution do not exist, but the suitable solutions are have to be investigated and to be prospected. So I turn into my to the subject of my presentation. I will be very short. I will give you an overview of the findings of the first seminar we held in Valencia. There is a little mistake. The seminar was on 26th, not 28. And we discussed, as Walter said, about the interplays between transfer pricing and customs value in transactions between related parties, of course. And I will give you a short overview. The four main points addressed in this. Then I will give the floor to my colleague from Bologna, Federico Tarini. So the first, the call for a realignment. We all are aware of the fact that international fora, ECC, OECD, WCO, WTO, unanimously strives for outline the needs for a realignment between the two standards of evaluations. There is no, in the view of this international fora, there is no a real reason. It is not reasonable. We have a mismatching between customs value between related parties and transfer pricing. As scholars, we outlined some differences theoretically, but in the end, we believe that these differences, undeniable differences, may be to a certain extent put aside. We agree with the call of the international fora. A realignment will be a suitable solution. At the same time, we outline some legal difficulties in the EU legal frame. That's very important. We focus on these difficulties. What are the advantages of the realignment? The realignment would have a clear advantages: certainty, simplicity, coherence of taxation will be at maximum with the realignment between the transfer pricing and customs value. We'll know there is a mismatching between transfer pricing and customs value. And what are the other advantages of realignment? Administrative compliance burdens on the businesses will be reduced, of course. Last but not least, customs and revenue may perform reliable, jointly control. That will be very important in our opinion. Also, this realignment will be useful for customs control and revenues control. They can perform jointly this control, theoretically, of course. Yeah? And the contrast to customs frauds will get benefits from this realignment. Theoretically, it will be easier for customs to adjust the undeclared value. Theoretically, yeah, of course. So lots of advantages in a realignment or a clear realignment. And this is in an ideal world, of course. But as we know, we live in a real world. And in the real world, we have to confront with the EU legal system. And the EU legal frame for taxation in the EU is very fragmented. It's multi-level and fragmented. EU customs law, national income taxes law, for example. There is no connection, no legal connection between transfer pricing and custom value in EU or in national law. And that's a point, because there is a widespread sense, as I wrote, of separateness between transfer pricing and customs value. So in the real world, they are two separate words: transfer pricing and customs value. In the real world, national customs authorities tend to acknowledge some interplays between the two. But that happens at the administrative level. There is no legal binding interplays, just possible connections between transfer pricing and custom value with a case-by-case approach. That's the real world. And the Hamamatsu case. Hamamatsu case has reinforced the sense of separateness. Is widely seen as confirmation about the separateness of transfer pricing and customs value in EU law. And one questions we ask is, what's the practical impact of Hamamatsu? Are there some changes happened after Hamamatsu in the national customs authorities' practice? And the answer is quite easy. No, little or no changes occurred in the administrative practices of the member states after Hamamatsu. Hamamatsu did not change quite anything in the customs practices, at least in the 4 countries interested. Hamamatsu has been interpreted mainly in a very narrow way, so still separateness, but some interplays at administrative level, just at administrative level. As in Germany, is still pending, as far as we know. In Germany, is pending a judgment for possible clarification of the Hamamatsu doctrine, We expected the judgment, but it is still pending so far. We wait for it. We wait for it. That's the scenario after Hamamatsu. Conclusions. I stop. As I told you, I'll be very short. General alignment between transfer pricing and customs value is hard to reach in EU in the short run. We should be clear, despite the benefits it would import, a legal binding realignment between the transfer pricing and customs value is not a feasible option in the short run, at least at legal binding level. We have to exploit the administrative interplays so far, but there is no legal binding, as in some countries like US, for example, does exist. At this point, aware of the difficulties in a legal binding solution, we advanced some proposals for an administrative practice, and some proposal of amendments, namely for some special schemes to obtain a smooth realignment of the two, transfer pricing and customs value. And so these are the subject of my colleague. I will stop here. I thank you all. Of course, I'm open. I have been very short and very general, but now my colleague Federico will be very focused on the proposal we advanced. And of course, all these proposals are going to be better explained in a paper, collective paper we are preparing, and we are going to publish in our review. Thank you so much, and of course I'm open for questions, and I give the floor to Federico. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. First of all, thank you for taking part in this second Ecce seminar, which is a work in progress, but I think we are doing a good work, to be humble. So, as Professor D'Angelo already said, there are a number of issues that the interplays between transfer pricing and customs, the interplays from custom value and transfer pricings. Our project is not limited to the study of these issues, of these problems, but we also set out to find some possible solution to fix this problem from this interplay between these two sets of regulation. In this presentation, I would like to try to explain three, maybe four. I don't know if we can count separate the last one, but we will go into that. Maybe four of this solution, and with a particular focus what we need to change in the EU regulation, EU framework to make them work. To give you a brief overview of the presentation, first of all, I would like to offer some preliminary remarks of the things we analyzed to deem a solution effective to tackle the problem, the issues at hand. Then I will focus on each of the three solutions, analyzing how they work, what are the benefits, what are the negative, and what are the changes. Lastly, I will offer some possible conclusion. So, let's start from the basics with a basic question. What are the necessity? What are the requisite that a solution must have to be deemed effective? To answer this question, we can see this question from, sorry for the repetition, from 2 points of view, a legal point of view and a practical point of view. From a legal point of view, we have to ask ourselves if there is a legal basis on the UCC or in any associated regulation. This is because even the most perfect and suitable solution should be discarded if we don't have a legal basis in the current legislative framework. Second, there are a practical point of view. From a custom authority perspective, there are two needs that must be met. First of all, we need to be sure that the declared value is the actual value of the imported goods. From a more business perspective, from a business approach, we have two equal important needs. First of all, we need to make sure that the customs authorities evaluate the upward adjustment as well as the downward adjustment, which result in a possible refund, which is a practice that not all the customs authority in the European Union follow. Second, and this is in our opinion, one of the most important aspect, is to avoid an excessive amount of red tape, an excessive a procedure too complicated for the business, because the more complicated, the more red tape there is for a scheme or a procedure or a solution, the more are the costs associated, more cost, which is not so business friendly. Okay, let's start for the, here are some questions that we need to find, just to summarize what I said previously. Let's start from the top. The first solution is the simplified supplementary declaration. The legal basis is can be found in Article 166 and 67 of the UCC, as well in Article 146 and Article 47 of the Delegated Act. In brief, we have, to summarize how it's work, there is a first simplified declaration, which can omit some information and some document, which must be followed by a supplementary declaration with all the missing information, which must be submitted in a limited time frame. We can divide the simplified supplementary declaration in two possible schemes: the occasional simplified declaration and the regular use of the simplified declaration. The main difference is on the regular use of the simplified declaration, which is the most useful for our objective. There is the need to have an authorization by the customs authorities, and there is a supplementary declaration have a recapitulative or periodic nature, and most important the time frame is quite a bit longer. So to summarize, we have this beautiful figure. We have the original simplified declaration, then transfer price and adjustment, and then supplementary declaration. Okay. Obviously, there are good side and bad side. On the benefit side, on the good side, we have the consensus among customs authorities. This is a scheme, a procedure that is adopted by most of the member states, for example, Italy or Spain and the Netherlands. So we can simply take a procedure that is already used at the national level and bring it to the European level. Obviously, it allows somewhat a reconciliation between transfer pricing and custom value. But there are also some negative aspects, the bad side of the solution. The most important is obviously the excessive amount of red tape, excessive amount of burden for the importer. There are two declarations. Formally, there are two declarations for the same operation, which could result in more cost for the business. Also, the regular use of the simplified declaration, supplementary declaration scheme is subject to custom authority authorization, which needs not a guarantee that will be released from the customs authorities. So, what do we need to make this work? To make this work, we need an official interpretation at the legislative at European level that says, that allows the authorization for the regular use of the simplified declaration every time there is a connection for transfer pricing. There is not a discretional authorization, but it is an automatic authorization for, in any case, there is a connection with transfer pricing. Second solution is the Article 73 authorization, which found its legal basis, as the name said, in Article 73 of the UCC and in Article 71 of the Delegated Act. To be short, we have, in this case, the custom authority may determine the customs value on the basis of some specific criteria. It's relevant to underline the relationship between the simplified declaration scheme and the Article 73 authorization. Because while Article 73 authorization is simpler, as we will see in about 1 minute, the procedure can be used only if the simplified declaration procedure is an excessive administrative burden. So there is a subsidiarity relationship between the two tools. On the good side, like we said for the simplified declaration, also the Article 73 authorization procedure is already in use in some of the member states. For example, in Italy and in the Netherlands. But the main good side, the main argument on the good side is the simplicity. It's simpler to have authorization instead of two declaration, a simplified and a supplementary declaration. There are also quite a lot of bad side to the Article 73 scheme solution. First of all, it's unclear if the procedure can be used for all the elements in the customs value or only for some of them. And it's also unclear what does it mean specific criteria. There is not a definition in the UCC or in any of the associated regulation of what a specific criteria means. So this could risk to deviate significantly from the ordinary method to determine the customs value. There are also some timing problems between transfer pricing and customs value. So what do we need to make this work? We need a definition of what specific criteria means. Idealistically, the best solution would be to require customs authorities and businesses to specify what specific criteria means before the issuing of the authorization, which could lead to a case-by-case approach, but also with more certainty on the side of the definition of the meaning of specific criteria. And we also need an official EU interpretation that allow the Article 73 procedure for transaction between related party and for all of the elements in the customs value. Third solution is in Article 73, 173 of the UCC, the amendment of the declaration. This is one of the simplest of the solution. We can have two different cases. The first case, we have an upward price adjustment, which will result in an amendment of the declaration and in the payment of the duties not paid by the importer. Or we can have a downward price adjustment, which could lead in amendment, which could lead an amendment of the declaration, and the importer could ask for a refund. On the good side is a procedure that is already in use, especially in Italy, for example, and it's very simple because we don't have we don't need any authorization, any excessive red tape. It's a simple amendment of the declaration. On the bad side, we don't. Not every custom authorities allows right now this procedure. There are some countries that allow only upward adjustment, some countries that do not allow adjustment at all, some countries allow both upward and downward adjustment. Also, what are the transfer pricing document enough to justify an amendment of the declaration? It's not clear right now. But the key point on the bad side is the limitation from Article 173, which prohibits the amendment after the customs authority have released the good. So this could limit significantly the usefulness of this solution. Therefore, we suggest some amendment to, first of all, to allow the amendment of the declaration even after the release of the good. And second, to recognize the importance of transfer price documentation for amendment of the declaration. Last solution, which is called the Dutch solution, because it's born from Dutch administrative practice, is part, we can say it's a form of Articles 173 UCC. It's not the correct term, but bear with me just for 1 second. The main problem here, which we'll see in about 1 minute, it's the absence of a clear legal basis. But let's start from the basics. How does it work? First of all, the importer, the business, shall lodge a normal declaration, a traditional customs declaration. Then, after the transfer pricing adjustment, there will be a reconciliation sheet that could lead to an uplift of the customs value, which will lead subsequently to the payment of the duties due, or could lead to a downward adjustment of the custom value. That could legitimize a request for a refund. There is a general reconciliation. It doesn't work on the singular declaration, but a general reconciliation. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Okay. Then we have the good side and bad side also in this in the solution. The good side is that it's easily implemented. It's an easy solution. It's simple. There is not so much requirement, red tape, and not so much cost associated. The bad solution are obviously the absence of a legal basis from the UCC and any associated regulation. And also maybe sometimes it's difficult to reconcile the transfer pricing value, which is often determined by the base by looking at the overall profits of the company, and the customs value, which focus on the single transaction. So what do you need? First of all, we need to create a sound legal basis. For example, we could add a fourth paragraph to Article 173. So let's conclude and summarize everything we said till now. The main point that we can bring home at there are more than one solution. We could travel to more than one road. Sometimes some solutions are simpler, some solutions are more difficult, but there are solutions. However, every single one of them require a direct action by the EU. And this is the key point, because the question is, and I don't have the answer right now, is a direct action at the EU level regarding the relation between transfer pricing and the customs value foreseeable, this I still don't know. Thank you for your attention.